Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but the New York Times conducted a focus group, and this was last week, I think. So this was 11 people who voted for Donald Trump and voted in 2024, and the feedback they received was just not good. Okay. Donald Trump and the state of the country, like according to these people, their views are atrocious right now. So this group was made up of all Republicans and independents, and there were 5 men and 6 women. So here's some of what the Times wrote. They said, and I'll bring this up for you guys. They said some participants had been hopeful in 2024, but many of them felt that Mr. Trump was the lesser of two evils, and the alternative might have been not voting at all. Some participants said they were from families or communities where most people agreed with them, even if quietly. Others felt frustrated or embarrassed because they were from families where their Democratic relatives had predicted what would happen, or they had Trump supporting friends or family members who did not want to hear their critiques. Echoing the sentiments of several people, one participant said, "There's almost no space to even discuss." So, this is why I've been saying that I believe there are shy Trump regretters out there. The opposite of what pollsters had to contend with in 2016, the shy Trump voters. I believe there are regretful Trump voters out there who are too embarrassed to admit that they screwed up. And that's why his poll numbers with the registered Republicans remain stubbornly high. That and the fact that a lot of them have ditched the party altogether. So the ones that are smart, the ones that get it and aren't just in the Kool-Aid cult, they've already left the party. So they're not even part of that group. They're not even part of the figures of, when you see, 85%, 95% of Republicans support Trump. Yeah, because the only ones left are the Kool-Aid cult members. So, in any case, here's some of what these voters had to say. So, a 42-year-old Illinois resident named Chris is a registered Republican. And here's what he told the moderator. He said, "Life is becoming more and more unaffordable. The prices of things like gasoline and food overall haven't come down. I thought it would all just be a lot more affordable." And then this guy said he was surprised and discouraged when he when he was asked how he felt about the country. Um, Here's the thing: there's no excuse for Chris here. Okay, I expect young voters to be surprised because they weren't old enough to really experience Donald Trump's first term. But a 42-year-old, no, no. Like, sorry, dude. No. Anyway, there was also a 26-year-old Washington resident named Francesca, and she said that she feels betrayed. And then she said this: "We were made a lot of promises during the election. I know that it's only been a year and a half, but I don't think I've really seen much progress toward even moving toward what he said he was going to do, such as tax breaks or, let's see, helping the education system. I feel like he just defunded a lot of the education systems, the schools. I don't know why he made so many promises." Okay. No, like Trump never said he was going to help the education system. Okay. She say, "Oh, he's going to help the." No, he never said that. In fact, he promised the opposite. He said specifically, "I am going to shut down the education department." And he said he was going to end Biden's free college tuition program. So Francesca was not paying attention. And then another person who was clearly not paying attention is 55-year-old Nancy from Arizona. So here's what Nancy said and why she voted for Trump. She said, "Well, I am an independent. Frankly, I just wasn't a fan of Kamala. It was the lesser of two evils. I could have written in somebody, but I felt like I had a better chance of a little hope with Trump. I was hoping that Congress and other branches would keep him in check and that he'd have better advisors and that maybe the second go around he'd learn some lessons. But it seems like he just or but it like it but it seems like it's just total chaos. Sorry about that, guys." um, so first of all, like guys, like we knew, okay? We warned these people that Trump was going to appoint nothing but loyalists in his second term. They telegraphed that. It wasn't a big mystery. We knew there wasn't going to be any legitimate advisors in this second administration. And on what planet was Nancy living during his first term? Because it obviously wasn't Earth. If it was, she would have known that the Republicans refused to hold Trump accountable. They refused to keep him in check for more than 10 years now. He's like a walking cyclone of chaos. He always has been, he always will be, and they have never done a single thing to stop him. So I don't know where these people come up with these fantastical ideas, these fantasies of the way they thought it would be. Anyway, there was another woman, a 51-year-old Alabama resident named Alla, I think is how you pronounce it, Alla or Alla. So she took issue with how Trump's Gestapo handled the deportation and the raids. And then there was a 62-year-old Florida man named Jose, and here's what he had to say. So he said, "I thought he'd learned his lesson and was going to prove to everybody he learned from his mistakes and he was going to turn the country around and he was going to be a stellar president. But it's turned out to be a horror movie. I was so wrong with the vote for him." And then he went on to say, "There's not one promise that he made that he's followed through on. He said, we're not going to be in any wars. We have had wars. We're discriminating against anybody that looks different than us or believes in whatever religion or sexual preference. That's not what we're about. I don't watch the news anymore because I get depressed." I mean, again, if he had paid attention in Trump's first administration, he would have known Trump is not anti-war, has never been. He did more drone strikes than Obama, and Obama was like really bad with drone strikes. He discriminated in his first term. I mean, the first thing he did when he took office was he did the ban on people coming from other countries. Like, what are you talking about, guy? Where were you? Were you in a coma? Really? Seriously? "Oh, I'm getting depressed." You don't say. Like, why would you think that a nearly 80-year-old man would change? When has that ever happened? People get more set in their ways as they get older. You're not going to change someone at 78, 79 years old. He's not going to learn from what lesson did he learn? He wasn't held accountable for anything. How can you learn a lesson when you're never held accountable? Anyway, there was another woman from Tennessee, 65-year-old woman named Pamela. She also said she thought Donald Trump learned his lesson. Like, what the fuck? What are these people talking about? He incited an insurrection. He still lies about the 2020 election being stolen. He stole some of the most highly classified documents in our government and then tried to cover it up. And again, he has faced zero consequences. Why? Why and how would they ever think that he would learn his lesson? They're like freaking Susan Collins. So this is how Trump got elected, because there's a bunch of people who projected onto him what they wanted to see, what they wanted to believe. None of their beliefs were rooted in fact, in empirical evidence, right? And now they're shocked. Oh, clutching their pearls, fainting on their couches. And they finally realize that Donald Trump is an immature, imbecile jackass who doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And in fact, when they asked these participants to give Donald Trump a letter grade, not a single one of them gave him an A or a B. Take a look at this. So, one, you can see gave him a C. You had a whole bunch, what is that? Seven D's and 3 F's. And then 8 out of the 11 raised their hand when they asked them if they regret their vote. Here's this graphic. So these are all the ones, the darkened ones are the ones who regret their vote. Now, surprisingly, if you look to the right, what you see is that Michelle did not raise her hand. Okay. She is the woman's image who's lighter. Okay. Here's what Michelle told the moderator, though. She doesn't regret her vote, but here's what she said. I feel foolish. In a family full of Democrats, I really stood my ground twice to defend my stance. I feel like time and time again, all of the things that they pointed out would happen have ended up happening. And I looked dumb as hell, believing in fairy tales and wishy washy promises. I feel like if Trump would have approached the country and the problems that the nation has been having as passionately as he had his personal vendettas against Biden and those before and after him, he would have been an amazing president. I really did believe at one point that he was also a frustrated American who was so fed up, he was going to make a world of difference. Really? Really? Uh, Here's the thing. Like, why would he be fed up? Why would he be a frustrated, fed up American? He is wealthy. He gets his way on everything. What does he have to be frustrated and fed up about? And to hear her say all of this, everything I just read to you guys, she clearly sounds like she regrets her vote, right? So this is what I mean about the shy Trump regrettors. Michelle absolutely sounds like she regrets her vote, but she is so dug in, doesn't want to give her family the satisfaction of admitting that, yeah, I fucked up, right? I should have listened to you. So, anyway, I'll have more of those for you guys. There were a lot more statements that they made. I'll have them probably in FAFO videos, but I want to say this one last thing. This is not a novel idea. This isn't anything I haven't said before, but it bears repeating. Most Trump voters are completely uninformed. They're not just misinformed, they're uninformed. They are not paying attention. They have no idea what's going on. Okay, so case in point, Jose, the man from Florida who now regrets his vote. Well, when the moderator asked, who comes to mind when you think of Republican leadership? Here's what Jose had to say. He said, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't watch the news, but the other day I turned on the news and I saw her and I was taken back with a statement. I didn't know that she left the house. So that was shocking to me. He had no clue. He had no clue that Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned from Congress 4 months ago. Or actually, what is it now? 5 months ago? No, I think it's been 4. Yeah. So when you find yourself asking, as I do, how do they not know? How do they not know X, Y, and Z? Why don't they care that Trump did this or Trump did that? They're literally not paying attention. They're not. If you don't know that one of the most outspoken Congress members left Congress months ago, never heard a word about her retiring or, stepping down and her feud with Donald Trump, you are in a bubble. You are in a media blackout. It's like you're on another planet and you have no access to the news. So, anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.